Good afternoon, students. We are back to take the English class for the first years. Yesterday, I had been taking the non-detailed classes and we could finish the first 3 lessons. That is, first one we did was playing the game. Playing the game was written by Arthur Mead. The second was 5 Boons of Life. And this is from Mark Twain. I had explained to you how his books, Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer, are very, very famous. The third that we had done was the Short-Sighted Brothers. Again, start from the beginning. The third lesson that we had done was the Short-Sighted Brothers. About the 3 brothers who tried to deceive each other. This is a folklore, Chinese folklore. And today we shall be doing Sangala Pantulu. This is by Suvaram Pratapa Reddy. It's a Telugu version which was translated by N. Surender. Sangala Pantulu. Today we are going to discuss this. Pantulu in Telugu means teacher. Sangala is association, a man of association. There is a tribal village run by the now hereafter. Okay. So there is a small village, Ramasangaram. Run under the British rule. In this small village, the people were deceived by the police. They were made use of. They were mostly illiterate. There was no unity. There were many communities there. There were the Kapus, Komatis, and we had the Dalits. These people were not educated, and there was also no unity between them. And the police made them work for them. The Comtes are basically greengrocers. So these people, There were around 50 committees. But in that village, Ramasangaram, there was only one who had a shop. If you remember, children, in olden days, caste plays a very major role. Like in the Hindu society, the Brahmins were supposed to be the intellectuals. Their work was only to study. The Kshatriyas, the warrior class, they were in the army and mostly protecting the land. And the Komtis were basically greengrocer. And there were other Madigas, otherwise the Dalits. These Madigas did the jobs of cleaning, sweeping, mopping, cleaning of toilets, all this. They were a fixed community class in olden days. Like one policeman said, like I said, in Ramasangaram, there was only one Komti who had the shop. The others did not have shops. But according to the police, you are a Komti. So your work is to provide us with the grocery. We don't care whether you have a shop or not. You have to give them. Get them fowls, the chicken, the all the groceries needed for cooking. And the Madigas were made to collect firewood, to clean their toilets and everything. But the saddest thing was they were not paid even a penny by the police. They were made to do all the work for free. Instead of getting any reward, they were rewarded by insults, beatings, punishments. So it was a miserable life in that village of Ramasangaram. The same thing across the river. There was another village, but this was run by the, sorry children, this was under the Nizams. Ramasangaram was under the Nizams, and another village across the river was ruled by the British. This small village, the people were very happy for the simple reason they were rewarded with whatever work they did, whether it was in kind or in cash, they were rewarded. So the villagers of that village were very, very happy, while the villagers of Ramasangaram suffered a lot. They were miserable. And the life continued like that for many years. No one stopped them. No one had the courage to defy the police people. And this, actually, it was a small village and did not even need a police station. It was very, very, only consisted of 500 people. So there were no need for a police station. Yet, these police continued with their atrocious works till such time, one fine day in the middle of a night, very early morning, when it was still dark, a stranger came into the village on a bullock cart. And he happened to come across a villager and asked him for the time. And he was surprised with the reply that the villager gave. When he casually asked, "Can you tell me what the time is?" The villager said, "It is still dark. The dogs are still barking, so it is not yet dawn." At that, the man was very surprised and asked, "What has the dogs barking to do with the dawn, the time?" So the man said, "All the cocks, usually it is the cock's work to crow in the morning to signify the dawn. But the cocks had been fed to the police and there were no cocks remaining. Luckily, the dog's meat is not eaten by the police, so that is why we still have dogs along with us. If they were eating the dog's meat, we wouldn't even know what time it is." The man was surprised, but he just kept quiet. And then the villager asked, "May I know where you are going?" So he said he was going to Patel's house. Patel's house, and he asked for the direction. The villager gave him the direction and inquired if he was going to stay for long. Anyway, then, in a small village, any untold thing, it spreads very quickly. And by morning, everyone came to know that a stranger had entered the village. He was carrying a bag of books and seemed to be educated. And they were very happy. They felt that this man has come to save us. And in what way they couldn't understand, but they felt he was an angel of blessing for them. He had come to save them. And in this way, all of them were very happy and it spread very quickly to everyone in the and when the stranger came to know about the incident, he called all the committees. And sorry, before this, there was an incident. One lady came and fell in front of him at his feet. She prostrated herself. God press. At his feet and complained that her sister was beaten on the cheek. Not only beaten, a hot iron was placed on her cheek by the the police. Amin Saab, he was known as. Amin Saab was the main police officer. Under him were Jamedar, and under them were the Jawans. This is the police. The main culprit was Amin Saab. He had 2 Jamedars and 10 Jawans. And they were given to ride a horse. He had 2 horses. And these had 1 each. So the Amin Saib's wife burnt a woman's cheek because she did not clean her toilet properly. And then even her husband was beaten on the flank for not having pressed the Amin Saab's legs properly. So like this, many atrocities took place and they were scared to tell anyone. And one fine day, one old lady was killed. She died. She was 70 years old. You may say, why? What is the matter? A 70-year-old, she's quite old, she would have died. But the reason behind it was Amin Saab's wife, Begum Sahib, had asked for firewood to be collected and she wanted from Rela wood. Now this lady, old lady, went into the forest and searched for the wood, but she couldn't find. So she gathered other type of wood and brought it. By the time she collected the wood and brought it, it was already evening. From morning, she had been working, collecting wood in the hot sun, without food. So she was feeling very weak. The moment Begum Sahiba saw that she hadn't brought the Rela wood but had brought cassia, she was very angry and kicked her. When she kicked her, the old woman dropped dead on the spot. The people were very angry at this incident, but like I said, there was no unity between. It's not the question of unity. They were too scared. None of them had the courage to fight or rebel against the police. There were many of them, 13 of them, and they were too scared. They were not educated. They felt helpless, timid to face the police. And that's the reason when the old woman died also, they did not say anything. They were angry, but couldn't show it out. In the meantime, one lady came and prostrated herself in front of the man, the stranger. They named, since they did not know his name, they named him as Sangala Pantulu, a man of associations. And when he heard their plight, he asked all the Komtis to gather together and he gave them advice. He told them about their rights. Their rights were, unless they were paid, they needn't work for free. They needn't work for free. They should know their rights. And that is why the committees decided that they would not give anything to the police unless they were paid. And they formed association. So when the Jawans came asking for rice, they said that one sale, in those days it wasn't kg, it was sale, costed them 5 rupees. At that, the police were irritated and said, you gave us once sale for 1 rupee. How come you have increased it and everything? Khabardar, he used the word. So the committee said, we have our own association, we are not scared. You want, you take. And in that way, they stopped providing fowls or collect fuel, the firewood for the police. They were only given rice, like I said, for one share was given to them, and they were provided free toddy. Previously, toddy was, they were given only 1 pot, but they now started giving them 3 pots. Now, what do you mean by toddy? Toddy is a local drink from the date palm. You must have seen the bark. Bark is cut and a pot is hung over it. And from the cut, the sap flows. When the sap flows and it is collected in the pot, they make toddy. It's a local drink. Which can make you drunk, you become tipsy because there is alcohol content. So now, after forming the association, they stopped providing fowls, firewood, or cleaning. Or cleaning their toilets. They only provided them 1 share of rice and 3 pots of toddy. At this, the 1 week went by. The police were very furious, and they knew the person who was behind this was Sangala Pantulu. Ever since he had come, the villagers were rebelling. The reason behind their revolt was Sangala Pantulu. So what they did was, one day the police called Sangala Pantulu to summon him to the police station. Unknowing to the police or Sangala, the young youth of the village met behind the police station. with sticks, with lathis in their hand. They waited. Anyway, the police immediately told Sangala Pantulu that he had been going against them. And each one started, the moment they saw him, they burst out with anger. You are the reason why we are not getting firewood. The people, even that Begari Ahmed has asked for money. All this, they started cursing him. At that, one of them said, why are we talking? Let's beat him. And all the police came forward to beat Sangala Pantulu. At that moment, the Komtis and the Madigas, who were the young youth of the village, who were standing at the back of the police station, burst into the police station, and with the lathis, with the sticks, they started beating the police very badly. The Amin Saab tried to hide himself behind the cot, but they pulled him out, and because his body was rotund, round, because he was fat, they kicked him very badly, and every one way ended up being wounded. And the youth taking Sangala Pantulu left the place. The police were very angry regarding this revolt and complained. Because this was a small village, they had only 13 police members. One Amin Saab, the Jamedar, and the Jawans. So when they revolted, the people, they complained to the nearby big city where the Mohtamin was there. And this man came to find out what was wrong. Why did the people, villagers revolt? Now the police were not going to talk about their disgrace, how they had been beaten, but they said that it was all due to Sangala Pantulu that these people were revolting. They were scared that they would there would be a coup in the village where they would overthrow the Nizams. So they gave a wrong information to the Mohtamin. But the Mohtamin was a clever man. He did not listen to only one side of the story. After he listened to the police, he summoned the villagers, the Komtis and the Madigas, and inquired from them. And then the villagers showed them the petitions that they had put forward several times, and all about the atrocities that the police had been doing, that they had not been paid. In fact, instead of paying them, they were insulted and punished and fined for their wrongdoings as per the police, and how they had led a miserable life till that man formed association. And that's when we have revolted against we did revolt. We asked for our rights, which was due to us, which was being misused by the police. When the Mohtamin heard this, immediately he made certain decisions. What were those decisions? The Amin was expelled. The Jamedars lost their stature. They had to go down to the post of the Jawans. They were demoted. And all the Jawans were suspended. Was suspended. And more than this, there were no police station hereafter. Like the Sangala Pantulu said, police are there to help you, not to take your life. So that's the reason why, since it was a small village, the villagers themselves could sort out their problems. They removed the police station. The Amin was removed from his job. Jamedars were demoted to the Jawan's post, and the Jawans, all the Jawans had been suspended for 6 months. With this, there was lot of excitement in the village, and Holi was just round the corner, 1 week away, and they decided to enjoy till Holi, and they also decided to invite the villagers from the other village across the river and enjoy till Holi the victory that they had gained over the police. So this is about Sangala Pantulu. Sangala Pantulu meaning a man of association. The last lesson is the dinner party. Written by Mona Gardner. This story, the dinner party, is during the British rule. During the British rule, the officers of the army had invited all the officials and attaché and everyone for a dinner. And among that party, there was a naturalist. A person linked with nature. He was an American. An American naturalist was also invited with all the high-ranked officers of the army, the colonel and the attaches and everyone. And among them was an American naturalist. But while the dinner party, it was a spacious place. The dinner was taking place in a dining hall, a spacious room, and there was a glass veranda separating the veranda from the dining hall. Always seated at the dining hall dinner table, having their meal, and there was an argument between a colonel and a young girl. And what was the argument? The colonel was insisting that men have more nerve power than the women. Women were easily scared. When they saw a rat, they would jump on the chair and they would scream. They did not have a lot of self-control among themselves. But the young girl insisted that era is already past, where women would jump on the chair at the sight of a mouse. She went on, and both were arguing. She against the statement of the colonel, while colonel, an old person who insisted that women were timid creatures. They did not have any control over their nerves. At this time, the American naturalist was watching their arguments. He did not participate in the argument, but kept on looking at every person who were participating in the dinner party, looking at them and seeing their reaction to the argument. In the meantime, he happened to see a slight change in the face of their hostess. You know who a hostess is? Host or hostess. The person who invites you to your house is the host. The others are guests. You go as a guest to someone's house, and the person who receives you is the host. And the lady of the house is known as hostess. Now, this American naturalist found her face changing. It became a little stiff, and she made no movement. She was like, he was puzzled, and he kept on looking at her. And after some time, she signaled a young native boy who was standing behind her chair. Native boys in those days worked for the Britishers who were, or the Indians who were in an upper position. And this native boy was standing behind her chair to take any orders given by her. She just summoned him quietly to her side and whispered a few words into his ear. The American naturalist who was watching them happened to see a frightened look on the native boy's face. So this American naturalist who was watching, first he was watching the hostess face which had become stiff. With no, she did not make any kind of movement till with her hand she summoned the native boy who was standing behind a chair and whispered a few words into his ears. The naturalist who was watching him saw a frightened look on that boy's face before he quickly left the place and came back holding a bowl of milk. Bowl of milk which he quickly took towards the open veranda. I told you there were glass doors separating the veranda from the dining room. So he took this to the veranda and placed it in the open near the veranda. Now, immediately, the American naturalist understood the meaning. In India, it meant that there was a snake somewhere in the room. So he quickly looked up. He saw the